Welcome to the Brilliant Life Show. Guys, I'm so excited to have Hannah on with us today. I was introduced to Hannah probably, I think, several years ago on another podcast, and she is one of my heroes. She is America's #1 mom coach. So Hannah was struggling as a mom and as a therapist until she decided to pour her energy into researching the mom brain and discover solutions that get real results for moms. These discoveries led her to being featured in the Wall Street Journal, on Today Show, Fox, and several appearances on Rachel Ray. Hannah is a board-certified life coach, an NLP practitioner, and America's #1 mom coach. She is also the founder of Mom Mastery University, Faith Coach Academy, and the host of the PBS reality series, Hannah Help Me. And she's a proud mom, guys, get this, of 7 crazy Jesus freak adrenaline junkie children. So Hannah, welcome to the show. We are so happy to have you. Hannah just got back from a Tony Robbins conference. I am not gonna lie, a little jealous. So that's super awesome.
You should come with me.
I know.
Let's do it again. I'll do it again with you.
Yes, okay. Yes. So Hannah, tell us a little bit about your story, about how you became America's #1 mom coach and started this Mom Mastery University. And I've done your what is it, your Mom Fog Challenge?
Yeah.
So how did you get to where you are today? Tell us your story.
So easy. It happened last Thursday. It was like that.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You know how it is. It's so easy. It's funny because when anyone, it's like a joke we have around here. Like if anyone has a big success, it was like, oh my gosh, what a lucky break. It's like, no, this was a long time. And it's a lot of long nights. Well, I started, I became a mom, had one kid, then another. And after a few kids, I was like, I kind of suck at this. The house was cluttered. We were so deep in debt, Joy. I'm not even kidding. Like people are like, oh, we don't have any money. I can't find anything to eat. Like we were so broke. There were 2 times I remember I couldn't even feed my children.
Wow.
And it made me feel, I remember like that night, there was literally nothing in the house. Like, I'm not saying like there's nothing they wanted to eat. There was nothing in the house. Oh. And there were some eggs that I was going to make for them in the morning, but like that was it. There was nothing in the cabinet, nothing, no cans and stuff. And I remember my husband came home from looking for a job. He had been without a job for like 6 months, and we had maxed out all our credit cards. We were, basically like, insufficient funds all the way down. We couldn't use our card. We had no cash. And I was like, I just really don't know what to do. And it's like panic set in. And I remember my pastor came to our door, rang the doorbell, came to our door, we opened it. And he was like, hey, you're going to think I'm crazy, but my daughter just got a job at Einstein Bagels. And I was there. They have all these leftover bagels. And some just told me to come by here and see if you guys wanted them. Wow. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. Joy, I can't explain how, if you can have gratitude and disgust at the same time. I was like so grateful, but there's a part of me I was like, it's kind of like that Scarlett O'Hara, I will never be hungry again. Yes. Like, how could I get here? Like I'm smart. I know better than this. Like I know the Bible, I know God's word. What is wrong with me? And it was one of those moments. I've had a couple of those moments, but I remember just like, I don't ever want to be in this place again.
Yeah.
And did some things to change my life. Like literally, I remember one time having one of those moments, and I was in this pile of laundry, and I was just sobbing, and I was like, you know what? No one's going to save me.
Yeah.
Like I can sit here and cry, ugly cry till snot comes out my eyes, and I can't tell the two apart. No one's going to come save me. So I remember hearing God's voice at that time say, get up and fold up your laundry. Like that like you think like God's voice comes out and says, oh, thou blessed of women, you shall be like, it was God saying, get your butt up and fold your laundry. Just do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm not staying in this spot. I'm just going to do the next thing in front of me. And I folded the laundry and I got on top of that. And then I started working on my home, like just like one thing a day, like trying to get something decluttered, get something organized. And then I started tackling my money, and things started working, but it started working like, kind of like a really horrific game of whack-a-mole. Where I'm like, I paid the bill. I paid, oh, here's another one that comes up. Or I get this room cleaned up and here's another one that's messed up. And I was like, felt like I was spinning my wheels, but I was trying so hard. And I decided, you know what, I can't keep doing this either. Like the overwhelm's not working, and then the pressure's not working. So I decided to take God's word. I was like, okay, I came across Romans 12:2. It says, do not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so you can test and prove what God's will is, his good, pleasing, perfect will. Now I was like, my life is not good. It's not pleasing. It's not perfect. So I decided at that point to take everything that God said in his word and like apply it almost like this was a manual. And things started changing. Joy. It was just like, and it was because this force, a greater force was working through me.
Right.
And I was like, this is crazy. Like all of a sudden we're getting out of debt. All of a sudden my house is clean and organized. I'm losing weight. And it was amazing. So I started with a simple like weekly call. I was like, there are other moms who need this too. Right. And so I started with a simple call and every week, and then that turned into a newsletter and books, and it all happened like that.
Wow. Yes. Wow. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Okay. So that's wild. And how old, like, is your youngest kid now and your oldest kid now?
My youngest is 13 and my oldest is 26. Oh my gosh. I hope I'm right.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Wow. You had them back to back, Hannah.
Yeah. It was
wow.
It was so much fun. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, and how long ago do you feel like you had that real low point where you started to make a change, where you were like,
it was honestly about a decade ago.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So I started really building my business about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And it took me a while because I was absorbing personal development and self-help like I was starving for it. Like I was like reading everything, I was listening to everything. And the thing was, it would sometimes work and sometimes not. And that's what frustrated me a lot. And then I realized all these people who are delivering personal development, they're not moms with 7 kids.
Right.
So when they say like, you have to go, and I remember hearing this one guru say, this is what he does. This is how he gets so much accomplished. He works out a task for 60 minutes. And then he takes a 12-minute break where he does this meditation, this mantra. Then he goes to his, I was like, okay, I was like, I would start a project and get like 2.5 minutes in, and then someone's clogged up the toilet with all the toilet paper, someone or there's a teenager who's like, oh my gosh, my life is falling apart. I need to talk. Like you can't do it like that. And so I started really researching the mom brain and figuring out what was so different about us and why we couldn't do the typical programs that other people do. I would do like a health program. Like I was really out of shape, really overweight. I would do a health program. All these crazy testimonials. I lost 30 pounds in 30 days. I lost 59 inches off my waist.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, why did I fail so miserably at that?
Yeah.
It's like not made for people like me, like moms who had a lot of things going on.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I think, when I first was introduced to you years ago, that's what I really loved, is because I talked to other moms like myself who were mompreneurs and totally into personal development, but we were like, we're not like a man in a corporate office in our 50s that has like going somewhere uninterrupted from 9 to 6, Not that that's like living the dream.
Right. But it's not our life.
Right, but it's just not. So yeah, 100% what you said. So many things that I feel like, yeah, they really have to be put into a lens of, okay, how can this apply to a mother's life? So,
Yeah.
so Hannah, tell us a little bit about what you have figured out about the mom brain, why it's different. This was something I really loved during the challenge, and mom fatigue syndrome, and just tell us all about that, because
Yeah,
I feel like
totally.
that's so important for moms
It
to
is.
understand, because otherwise you just feel like there's something wrong with me, and there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with being different. You just have to know, like, you have to know how your brain works in order to work it, really well. So
Totally,
yeah.
totally. And I remember when I first started stumbling across this, just kind of doing my own research, like what is wrong with me? Like
Yes.
why can't it's like don't even get me started. Like why can't I focus? Why is it when I walk in a room I forget what I went in there for? Why is it
Hmm.
when my kid's talking to me like I don't even remember what he said?
Yeah.
Why did I pull away from the house with the coffee cup on top of my car for the third time? Like, what
Hmm.
is wrong with me? And I think a lot of moms are like, oh my gosh, I'm flawed. Something's wrong with my brain. I've got
Right,
like
right.
ADD. It's not that. It's that our brains are like evolutionarily wired to be multifaceted. I kind of call it the difference between spaghetti and meatballs. Cause like
Right.
people who I call them, like the, I call moms MVPs who have so much going on because we are multiple variable professionals. We have multiple variables coming at us at all times. Now, other people are SCPs, they're singular constant professionals. That means they can singularly focus consistently and constantly in one direction. We don't have that. We don't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
We don't have that ability, but we also don't have that opportunity
Right.
because God made our brains like spaghetti because we have to be all over the place. Have you ever noticed, Joy, like kind of like you have this spidey sense like this about your kids, like you'll know something's wrong with your middle schooler, right? Your
Hmm.
husband doesn't know, but you're like, I'm just saying something's up, like you need to talk. Or you like have this gut instinct and you grab your kid before he runs out in front of a car in the parking lot. Like
Right,
these
right.
kind of things, God wired our brain to be like spaghetti. It's like multifaceted, and we have this extra perceptive ability to be able to be extremely acutely aware of our surroundings to protect our children. It's just
Right,
hardwired in us. We can't do anything about it.
right,
Like that's
right.
why we know like what's going on in the back seat. We don't have to look. We just know what's going
Hmm.
on. And SCPs don't have this, and that's why they can focus in one direction consistently and constantly. Now, we don't have that. We have an extra perceptive ability, which actually gives us an advantage as moms. It's not a disadvantage, although it feels like it when we forget things or we start things and we don't finish them. It's actually an advantage. Now, if we learn how to work with the way our brain is wired, we can actually get a tremendous amount more done. We can be like 10 times more productive if we know just simple strategies on how to work with our brain and know what's going on. And we're not
Right.
flawed. We don't need to be fixed. We just need to know how to work with the way our brain is wired. That's why we do the Mom Fog Challenge. So you can
Hmm.
just spend, a few weeks to get these strategies, these brain hacks to work with the way your brain is wired as a mom.
Right. That's so good. That's great. So, and can you tell us, Hannah, a little bit about, you were saying like once a woman has a baby, I mean, I remember this from the Mom Fog Challenge, like our brain
Oh, yeah.
connections
Yeah. Well,
connect
actually, what
differently.
happens is there is a shrinking of the gray matter. You can take an MRI from a woman before she had a child and after she had a child. And if you look at that brain, the gray matter has shrunk down. And that's when moms are like, oh my God, I'm losing my mind. Like literally losing my gray matter. It's shrinking as I talk. And they what they did was they did this research study and found that even like 10 years later, it was still shrunken. So it's like, what hope is there for us? Like the gray matter is shrinking with when we have a child. But the cool thing is we're actually getting more neural branching. And so what that is like these neurons are branching off in more intricate ways. So whereas the gray matter is shrinking, we're actually expanding in our awareness and our perceptive ability. So that doesn't necessarily come up in the MRI. We're just going to see the gray matter. But we actually are getting these skills and abilities that we don't even know that we have. We're just kind of operating. Kind of like when you walk in someone's house and you have like 3 little kids and you don't even realize you're pushing scissors away from the edge. And you're scanning subconsciously all the time, scanning for any risk to protect your children.
Yes.
So it's really a great thing that we have that, because otherwise we probably wouldn't our kids wouldn't be alive. Like, we're like, I know something is too quiet. Something's going on. Someone's at the top of the stairs. A toddler's at the top of the stairs, and we grab.
Yes. Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, and then tell us about mom fatigue syndrome.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is where mom fatigue syndrome, this is what happens when we fall into this pattern. And I don't know if you're familiar with learned helplessness. There is a study done with, the study that Pavlov did with the dogs. Well, there is another study done where they would shock the dogs. And I know it sounds horrific, but it actually gives us a lot of great insight, and the dogs all lived and they're okay. But they provided an escape for the dogs from the shock. So one area they would be shocked, and then there's this like thing they had to jump over, really simple, and they could escape it. Now, when they put those dogs in places where they were shocked and they couldn't escape, and compared that with dogs who did not have any experience with the shocking, they would put them in these chambers where they could escape. The dogs who were used to getting shocked just stayed in the shock when they could escape at any time. But the dogs who weren't used to it, they jumped over and they weren't being shocked. They escaped the pain. Now, sometimes for a mom, we get this learned helplessness that happens in our mind where we think, you know what, no matter what I do, you finish the sentence.
It'll never change.
It'll never change.
Yes.
It doesn't work. Why try? That's called learned helplessness. And we develop this kind of like the dogs being shocked. And it's like, well, I can't escape. So I'll just keep being shocked. And so I found out that moms are actually, when they are trying to adjust to that mom brain, and some people never do, unfortunately. But when they're trying to adjust, they're like, oh my gosh, no matter what I do, it's not working. I fold the laundry, it's all messed up again. I put the toys away, they're all over the place. I make dinner, I clean up the kitchen, it's messy again. And they get this learned helplessness. And then they sink into this mom fatigue syndrome. And some characteristics you find of this are extreme fatigue, where you sit down and you just like close your eyes and you go to sleep, or you actually go to bed but then you can't fall asleep. So it's crazy. Like you have both sides of this like sleeplessness coin, and you also get that mom fog, that brain fog that happens. And these are just symptoms of mom fatigue syndrome, of learned helplessness. So when that happens, you can feel like, why even try? Which is actually the worst place you can be in. So that's why I wrote the book Mom Fog, and I have momfog.com where you do the challenge and everything. So you can figure out these strategies to get out of that mom fatigue syndrome, get your energy back, get more productive, and have fun. Like I think a lot of moms have forgotten just how to have fun.
Right. Yes. Yeah. This year I joined MOPS, and their theme is big life to the full, based off this Bible verse in John. But just talking about the importance of having fun in your life. And sometimes it's hard to focus on that when you're you're just trying to like do all the
it's our natural state. Our natural state is joyful, and our natural state is fun and curious and excited. Only problem is we get bombarded by so much of the conditioning that happens in our lives as moms that we forget that. And so we actually live that in a way that's not really fully and have full integrity with who we were born to be.
That's so good. Yeah, no, I totally agree. So Hannah, tell us about, I had so many questions that I wanted to ask you about. So tell us kind of like, what would be 3 tips that you would give to moms who are maybe feel like maybe they're struggling with mom fatigue syndrome, though I personally, I don't feel like I've ever gotten to that point, but just like 3 tips that you could give to moms to help them move forward in their lives, wherever they are right now?
Sure, absolutely. I think one of the first things I would recommend is everyone has these huge projects that they feel like it's just too much. It could be their weight. They're like, I've tried, I just can't tackle it anymore. I'm, 200 pounds overweight. I can't do this. Or it could be that garage that's just haunting you and saying, get me decluttered. You have all this stuff in there. But there's always like big projects. And the problem with that is we let them stack up so high that we feel it's kind of hopeless. And what I developed is the thing called ISO projects. And so if you can take those big projects and just break it down into a tiny, tiny isolated project. So you're not looking at the whole thing. You just get an ISO project, just one little thing that you can do that day. And here's why, Joy. It's not so you can get the project done. Surprisingly, you would think like this is your strategy to get it all done. It's not actually that at all. What happens is if you can break it down into a tiny baby step and just complete that one thing. Like just put the stacks of magazine in the recycling, like just that one thing. And that's isolated. It's very important that it should be isolated and not attached to the big picture. If you do that and reward yourself, the point of that is if you do it continually, your brain starts getting this dopamine hit. And all of a sudden you start getting those endorphins. You're like, hey, I'm pretty kick butt here. Like I actually did something instead of like, oh, I can't do anything. Just do a tiny thing, but then stop it, like isolate it, complete it, and say, dang, celebrate it. I did that. What happens is it actually stimulates that part of your brain that tells you, I can do things.
Yes.
We continually have this internal dialogue where it's like, I can't do anything no matter what I do. It never works. I've tried before, it fails. And continually, bathing our brain with that kind of negativity, it puts us in such a helpless state. Yes. But if you just do one ISO project, complete it, celebrate. It's very important that you celebrate it because you're sending those neurotransmitters all throughout your body to say, hey, I'm pretty awesome. I rock at this. I'm totally able. So I would suggest definitely start doing that. Another thing is to please get rid of your to-do list. It is torment. Your to-do, like it just sits there and girl, it's never going to get done. Like, it hasn't done it in 15 years. It's sure going to start happening now. So get rid of the freaking to-do list. And I actually have a Master Mom planner because I found no planners work for me. I don't know if they work for you, but I found planners don't really work for me. But if you can just, what I call calendarize the projects. So just take whatever the to-do is, put it on some type of calendar, give it a home. Because a to-do list is kind of like a pathetic homeless shelter for all your tasks. And no one wants to hang out at a pathetic homeless shelter. Like, you go there and help out, but then you want to leave. But if you can just like get rid of that homeless shelter for your tasks and put them in a home, put them on your calendar, give them a spot, and then train your brain to make it small enough. Lower that baseline, make it a small task that you can get done and celebrate. You don't have that to-do list torment anymore. Because really you look at your to-do list and your brain doesn't get a good feeling from that. You look at your to-do list and say, crap.
Yeah. I'm so depressed. Yeah.
Depressed even thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
And this is what we do on to-do lists. This is what we do. So we look at our to-do list like this. We're like, what's the easiest thing to do?
Yes.
And and we can't do that. We just have to look at it and give it a home and then train ourselves to be like, I'm going to celebrate when this is done. Yes. I'm not going to look at all the other stuff.
Right.
Celebrate this one thing. So
that's so good, Hannah. That's really good. Yeah. And I love what you're saying about celebrating. I feel like especially achievers, they just like go. Yeah. And if you never celebrate, you are really short-circuiting your productivity.
You are. And what's the point?
Yeah. Right.
Like, what's the point of getting anything done? Is it to complete it, or is it the feeling that you want of living with purpose, of living with power, of being in that state where you're accomplishing? Like, that's what you're after. Right. So if you never celebrate it, you're not getting the real true end result of that to-do list.
Right. 100%. Yeah. Okay. So I love that. So the first one was ISO projects.
Mm-hmm.
And I 100% also agree with that. That's
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. You
Yeah.
just got to like break it down. And
Yeah.
then the second thing is to get rid of the to-do list. Give
Yeah.
your task a home. What's your third tip that you would give moms?
Uh, okay. Let's talk about sleep, because everyone's like, Mom,
Yes.
you're sleep deprived. You need more sleep. Okay, this might shock you, Joy. It's not how much sleep you get.
Okay.
It's how
All
you
right.
sleep.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
here's what happens, and here's why most moms wake up after 7 or 8 hours feeling overwhelmed, tired, cranky, headache. Here's why. How you go to bed is how you wake up.
Good.
Because when you go to bed thinking about all the stuff you have to do tomorrow, all the things you failed at today, why you're a miserable mom, why God even gave you these beautiful children to ruin their lives. When you're thinking all these thoughts, the message you give your subconscious before you fall asleep, what you're doing is it's kind of like putting all the ingredients in a slow cooker. And then what you have in the morning is really just a cooked version of everything you put in there. So if you're feeding in all these negative thoughts before you go to bed, your subconscious is cooking this all night long, trying to make sense of it, trying to process it. And how's it going to process it? It's going to put this belief in your subconscious that you're a lousy mom, that you can't do it.
Yeah.
So when you wake up, you have the finished version of all that negativity. It's like, God, dang it, I woke up today, darn it. But if you can, like, what I call it like a brain flush. And if you can just, before you go to bed, just do this brain cleanse. It's like cleansing it, flushing it out, and just think of all the things you're grateful for. Like today was today. Okay, good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. Today was today, but there's something that we can be so grateful for. And so, like, review today. I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for life. I'm so grateful our marriage is together. I'm so grateful for this home. We had food to eat. I'm so grateful. And then program it for tomorrow. Tomorrow, see yourself going through the day, everything you're going to get accomplished, how you're going to do it, the voice you're going to use speaking to your kids, the dancing you're going to do in the kitchen, how you're going to like rock all the chores, how you're going to make all the calls when you're building your business, like all the sales coming in. See that. And when you do that, it cleanses your subconscious so that when you sleep honestly, if you do this, you really need less sleep, which is, if I could give you an extra couple hours in the day, like, wouldn't you be grateful for that?
Yes. Yeah.
So then, like, after 6-7 hours, you wake up, it's like, wow, like I'm empowered. I feel creative. I can actually come up with solutions today. So it's not how much sleep you get, it's really how you go to sleep. It really makes a big difference.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And Hannah, do you, what are your thoughts about like how having electronics in the bedroom and how that affects your sleep? Do you sleep with your phone as your alarm clock?
Well, my phone is in my room for alarm clock, but that's all. And it's away from the bed.
Right. Yeah. It's not
so
like right
there's
on
so much research that, I don't need to tell you, turn off the TV. Shut off the computer. I don't need to tell you that. You already know that.
Right. Yeah.
But it depends. What kind of energy do you want to have? Because if you have enough time to, binge watch Office, but you don't have enough time to do your laundry, it becomes a value question.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that you really want to change your life and then ask a friend, well, I need to find a new show on Netflix to watch. What do you recommend? Like, no,
yes.
no.
Yeah.
I'm not falling for it. What's happening is you're not valuing what you really want. You're putting it on.
Yeah. Which is really, I think, some source for some people, like the source of anxiety when you're living your life out of alignment with your values. And the reason I asked about the phone is because I think sometimes people don't realize, like, looking at your phone, especially social media or whatever, checking work email or personal email, and then like you go to bed with that in your subconscious instead of doing what you just helped us unpack how to do. Like, oh my gosh, it's just night and day.
You got to think also about why we do that. And sometimes we don't feel really powerful and productive as moms just because of the way we live our lives. The easiest way to get that dopamine rush, the easiest way to feel powerful and productive is like, I looked at that video. I checked that email. I did that. And so really it's doing this false security for your brain.
Yes.
It's not really creating anything better in your life. It's giving you a false perception that you're doing something. Because here's what happens. This is what I call the faith formula, where whatever thought you hold, it creates a feeling in you. And out of that feeling, you'll do something. And when you do something, that creates the results that you live with.
Yes.
Now, think about it. If the thought is, I can't do everything I have to do, I'm not enough, this is too hard. A lot of times for moms, because a lot of us are achievers, just like you are, Joy, our thought pattern will be like, I need to do something, I need to do something, I need to do something. Well, when we look around, it's like, we don't want to do those things that are right in front of us. So what can we do that makes us feel productive? Like we're actually taking action?
Right.
Your phone. Watch a video.
Yes.
You're getting something done, right? Is it building your life? No, but it's tricking your brain into thinking that you are.
You're still getting that dopamine.
False productivity or real productivity? It's up to you. Do you want to get results in your life, or do you want to, stay stuck?
Yeah. No, I love that. Those are fantastic tips, Hannah. That's awesome. So Hannah, I wanted to ask you, so I work with a lot of moms who have children and they want to possibly, maybe they already have a service-based business, but they want to move into more of an expert-based business, or maybe they don't have a business at all, but they just want to they want to start a business of some form and maybe like find a way to turn their passion into profit. And I feel like you are an incredible, example of that. So can you talk to us a little bit about like 10 years ago, how you went from many, many years ago, you went from like your low point to kind of like really getting your life together and then getting a vision to serve other women with what you've learned, and how you turn that into a business with 7 kids. Because I want to know that myself. I only have 4 and I'm like, wow.
Well, it's funny, Joy, because this is what our brain does. Our brain says, I need the strategies, right? Yeah. That's exactly all of us. Our brain says, if I had these strategies, I would have the same experience this person has. Yeah. And it's funny because that actually isn't how it works at all. We know the strategies. We know to follow up on the calls. We know to set aside time to work on things. We know to create content. Like, we know this stuff. We know to reach out to people. We know to network. We can find a million books on the strategies of building a business. But here's what happens is that we tend to think it's just strategy. But actually, it's a more intrinsic thing. That's all extrinsic. And we can get that. Like, I can tell you step by step, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it might help you, but probably it would not. Because creating a business is just like having another child. And you know intrinsically what to do. The problem is that knowledge has to be learned on such a deeper level by showing up and only one person's there to listen to your pitch, and you still keep going. It's by writing an article and no one is there to read it, and you say, okay, I'm still going to publish it and I'm still going to promote it, put it out there. That kind of intrinsic knowledge is what really builds your business. It's not the strategies. It's actually implementing the strategies and having the mindset to continue to implement the strategies and divorce yourself from the outcome. Yeah. Because God will use that. If you truly have a heart to serve people, then God's going to use that. But you have to get yourself out of the way of get the pride out of the way of saying, I have to have this many people show up, or I have to have this many likes, or this many hits, or this many whatever. Right. Get out of that, because just take consistent steps and get that intrinsic wisdom that you just keep on going. Because we're not short of strategies, but it's actually, people want strategies. It's not strategy. Yeah. Go look at any library, any bookstore, go through Amazon, all the business books. Oh my gosh, you can't even count them all. There's a new one every day. It's overwhelming. All strategy. Yes, right. So if it worked everyone would have a successful business.
Right. Right.
It's not strategies. It's intrinsic wisdom of continuing the strategies regardless of the outcome.
Yeah. I love what you said. And just divorce yourself of the outcome.
Yeah.
So really, like, what you're saying is, like, you probably already know the strategies, and of course resource yourself with coaches and teachings, but taking action and continuing to take the action that you know you're supposed to, regardless
like
of,
I would even put pressure on, and I would just ask yourself, like, I would wake up one morning, like, spend some time in prayer, meditation, and then get your goal in mind. What is that goal? I want to create, I don't know, I want my business to be 6 figures. I want to make 6 figures this year. I want to make 10,000 this month. I want to get 2 new clients this month, whatever it is, get that goal. And then ask yourself, what are 3 things I can do right now to help me reach that goal?
mm-hmm.
And then here's what your brain will do. I don't know. And here's what you do. If I did know, what would that be? Go a level deeper, unlock another level in your brain, and get in touch with that intrinsic wisdom that God gave you. And would it be following up on that phone call? Yeah. Would it be creating a live video? You already know.
Right. I think that's so good. And I would encourage our listeners to, when you're going through that process, to force yourself to write it down. Because, like, I feel like, I don't know if men do this, but I know a lot of women, including myself, that will like massage and massage and massage a problem that you're having either in your life or in your business. And you're like, I can't figure out the solution. But if you would just get quiet, if you like believe in prayer, like get quiet before the Lord, or just get quiet and a pen and a paper and force yourself, you're like, I am going to write down 3 things I can do. And then it's like magic. You're like, oh, when I have to write it down.
Right.
You probably know more about the psychology behind that, but that's great advice. That's great, Hannah.
It's really just reframing. Yeah. So many times we're like, I don't know how. And we're just training our brains to think, I don't know how. Just a simple switching around of the words, tweaking it. Yeah. How would I? If I did know, how would I? And getting that level of curiosity about it, not of overwhelm and discouragement. Get a curiosity about it. How would I? If I did know, what would it be? Yeah. And just sit there in that state of curious. Yes. How would I? If I was coming to myself and saying, hey, here's this problem, what do I do about it? What would I tell her? Yeah. And you already know.
That's fantastic. Guys, that's like gold right there. Yeah, I mean, it's really like a growth mindset. And I just did an episode about crucial conversations. And I don't know if you've heard of that book. It's a super awesome book. Yeah. But it talks about when your brain goes into fight or flight, like a way to get someone, like I used to think when you're having these crucial conversations, I can't control if another person spirals out of control. And sometimes I feel like I can't control if I'm shutting down either, but the way to get your brain out of fight, flight, or freeze is to put it into the curious part of the brain, that problem solving mode. And then your brain is free to solve problems. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, but you have to be curious. The curiosity is the key.
It's like we have this beautiful treasure chest, and we just kind of pick off a few coins off the top. Like your mind, you have the mind of Christ. Yeah. That's what the Bible says. Yeah. Like, would you like to unlock supernatural wisdom? Like, just dig a little deeper. It's all right there.
That's so good. And then, Hannah, when you were first starting out, because I think this is so important for women just first starting out on anything, whether they think they want to build a business or maybe God's put a dream in their heart to whatever. Did you have any inkling like 10 years ago that you were going to be, Mom Master University and, Mom Fog Challenge and Mom's #1, like mom coach and a PBS show? Did you know what it was going to look like now?
Well, yeah, because I created it inside my head before it ever happened in my life. Okay. So a lot of people will be like, no, I know, but I did, because I saw it all before it happened, because I would meditate on that. I'll be grateful for it before it ever happened. I was grateful for the book I wrote. I could see it published before I even wrote the first word. And I was so grateful for the, you know, the university and the moms in here, because I created my head and I saw it, and I was grateful for it before it ever happened. I think that's why it actually
That's why it happened.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. That's fantastic. And balancing it with your 7 kids, like, how did you do that?
Well, it's like having another kid, honestly.
Okay.
And you have to see it that way. Like, if you're like, oh, I'll have time to do this for my business because I have to do this for my kids. If you had another child, you wouldn't say, oh, I don't have time to feed my baby because I have these other babies. But here's what happens. This is a warning for every mom who wants to build a business, because I see this so many times. I coach people, I train up coaches, and this is what happens is when a mom doubts her ability to build a business, she will often put her role as a mom and her role as a business leader at war. And it doesn't have to be. And here's what we'll tell ourselves. Well, if I build up my business, I'll be a bad mom. And of course, you know, and we all have integrity. Like, no one who is listening or watching this right now does not have integrity as a mom. And because we value our role as a mom and we love our children so much, we will often use that role to sabotage our role as a business leader, when they actually can coexist beautifully if we have the right mindset. Like, it doesn't have to be a battle. And you can actually, like when I coach people on this, I'm like, what if you could get rid of the thought that you can't do both? What if you could get rid of that thought? And all of a sudden you step into that place of like, wow, I'm pretty powerful. Like, I feel better. I feel more productive. Now, if you're always thinking, oh, I've got to juggle this and this, and I can't do this, and if I do this well, I'll do this bad, and if I do this well, I'll do this bad, then you'll always operate with that underlying state of self-sabotage, discouragement, looking for the problem. But if you get into that state where it's like, I can do all of this and I can do it beautifully well, then you put yourself in that state where you actually have the energy and you're able to get more stuff done. And I tell you, my kids have come to me so many times and thanked me for doing what I do. Like, don't think that it's going to take anything away from your kids. It actually shows them what living in full integrity looks like. It shows them what being obedient to the call of God on your life looks like, so that when they get older, they're not going to have an excuse.
Yeah, I love that. And that's so great, because I was feeling on my heart to ask you, like, I think a lot of women, and I've struggled with this sometimes too, that you feel like it has to be either or.
Yeah.
Like,
who says?
Either the business or the career or my kids. And
like, would you say that if you had a new kid, if you had like 3 kids and then you had another kid, it's like, well, it's either going to be this new kid or these 3. So, kid, sorry, I know you came out of my womb, but you know, because like God planted that seed in you.
Yeah.
And so it is a child. It is something that he wants to create and get out of you. He wants to birth it out of you to bless this world. And we should see our children as world changers, as people who will bless the world and empower them to do so with the skills and ability. And we need to see our business as the same, something that will go out and bless this world and empower people.
Yeah. 100%.
Now you're going to get me preaching, Joy, so you better watch out.
Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, well, Hannah, I always close the podcast with 5 questions, but before we jump into those, is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners?
Just the idea. I want everyone to really hold this thought that, what if I'm already enough? What if I don't need to be fixed? What if I'm not broken? And just sit in that thought for a moment, that what if right now, in this moment, you're 100% exactly where you need to be with what you need to accomplish whatever purpose you have in your life? What if everything up to this moment happened for you to build you to a place where you can have so much more impact if it hadn't?
Yeah.
So just sit with that for a while and realize there's nothing broken in you. Nothing needs to be fixed in you.
Yeah. Wow. I love that, Hannah. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to jump into our final 5. So these are 5 questions to kind of resource our listeners, and also just to, have fun.
Okay.
Okay. So
Shoot, I'm ready.
what is one of your favorite books other than the Bible? And why?
Um, okay, so there was this book written in 1910, and you're gonna think and grow rich, but it's not. It's called The Science of Yeah,
That was my
that's
guess.
what you would guess. But it's called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Waddle. And I found this copy at a bookstore, and I glanced through it and I was like, what is this? Like, I never heard of it. And I actually went through it, and page by page, like, it doesn't have any spiritual talk at all, like Christian, like biblical talk. And I found the correlations in that in the Bible were like unprecedented. And I actually would write verses all through that of what he was talking about back in 1910, these principles, where they were in the Bible. And it's a short read, but it's like a long read, because you sit there and you read a page and you're like, what?
Wow.
Like, this was the first time I ever heard anyone say that being poor does not serve the world. And I'm like, whoa, what? Like, it's almost like you really have to like check yourself before you read it, because everything is founded in the Bible. It was crazy. But yeah, it's one of those that, I've given away to people, and it's powerful.
That's great. Okay. I'm gonna go find that. Can you get it on Amazon? I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Science of Getting Rich, Wallace Waddle.
Okay.
And just the language he uses is not like what the language we would use. But so where he would say like these terms for like what faith is, I would just scratch it out and write faith. And I'll scratch out and write Holy Spirit. And I would scratch out and I would write prayer. Like, it was all so in line with everything God tells us.
I love that.
But he broke it down into a science. So that was super cool for me, because I love that.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so what is one of your favorite podcasts and why?
Oh my goodness. I have so many. Why do you do this to me?
I know, it's hard.
So
and guys, Hannah also has a podcast.
Yeah, my podcast. Well. I listen to it all the time. I actually have two, Crazy Blessed and That Mom Show.
Yeah.
I do love Kenneth Copeland's podcast, Believer's Voice of Victory. It's like one of those that you would not think. And I love listening to that. Love listening to any oh gosh, so many. Bill Winston, love listening to him. I love listening to all the personal development stuff.
Yes.
You do this. Yeah. That's like saying, like, here's your dessert menu, choose one.
Right.
Joy, I want the pecan pie and the lemon meringue. Like, don't do this.
Right, I know. Yeah. I know. People ask me that question. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's impossible.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is the best business advice that you have ever heard?
Best business advice, that it's selfish to be cheap.
Oh, nice.
I remember hearing this person, he was my business coach. And I was telling him my prices, and they were super low, because in my mind, I wanted to make it affordable for everyone. And he's like, you are so selfish. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I priced this so low so everyone could afford it. He's like, yeah, You priced it so low, and who's going to actually use it, and how's it going to have an impact on their lives? And I'm like, like, he stabbed me in the gut. I was like, I never thought about that. I realized it was pride making me price myself cheap so that I would just get purchases. That was pride. I wasn't trying to help people. I disguised pride as mercy.
Right. Yeah.
Because when I started raising my prices, actually making people put skin in the game, that's when they had radical change in their life.
Yeah. I hope you guys heard that, because that is a pervasive thought in our society.
Totally.
And at the end of the day, like, we all do really want to serve people.
Yeah.
But people that I agree with that, people that pay attention. And
yeah.
You can buy this cheap stuff and you never do it.
Don't you have a ministry? Like, it should be free. Like, why would Jesus hire a treasurer for his ministry if he didn't have money?
Yeah.
Like, money actually does stuff. You can't ignore this. Mm-hmm. You may say it's not important, but it's right there with oxygen.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so if you could live anywhere in the world, you could take your family, your community, where would you live?
I love where I live.
Oh,
I
that's
love
awesome.
live big, but here's the thing: we've often thought about that, but we love to travel.
Okay.
So I love taking the family and traveling to Iceland, one of our favorite places to go. We love going to any shore. Love that so much. So I love, like, I'm so grateful for Airbnb because I can just pick up my whole
Yes.
family. It's like, hey, we're going to go stay at the beach for 10 days, or we're going to
Yes.
Iceland, or we're going to Scotland. Or I love it so much. So I love living here
Yeah.
in Richmond, Virginia, because it's just such a great place to raise my kids. And plus, it's like the tattoo capital of the world. So,
Oh, I did not know that. That's great. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Richmond is great. Okay. And where do you want to be? What do you want to be doing 5 years from now?
um, well, I will have 100,000 moms inside Mom Master University.
Love it. Okay.
I'll have a probably around $75 million company. I will actually be doing less coaching, more speaking,
Okay.
empowering other coaches to be leaders. So I already have like it all. I can see it all. So I guarantee, like,
Okay.
put your money on it. Like, it's happening.
That's so awesome, Hannah. I just love it. Well, thank you, Hannah. This has been such a true joy to be able to talk with you like in person. It's been so fun. So, where can our listeners connect with you more and find out more about you?
Yeah, well, you can go to hannahkeeley.com.
Okay.
Also, if you're interested in all the brain hacks, definitely try the Mom Fog Challenge. Just go to momfog.com and I can
Mm-hmm.
send you a free copy of the book too. So
Yes.
you get all the
Awesome.
brain hacks, you get the challenge, you get our smoothie in the morning, our tea at
Yeah.
night, our secret
Uh-huh.
recipes,
It's
all
really
that.
fun, guys. It's really
Yeah.
good. Yeah. It's really awesome. Well, thank you so much, Hannah. We really appreciate it. And I hope you guys enjoyed all the just the wisdom bombs she dropped today. And have a great day.
Thank you so much, Joy. Bye bye.